We saw late last year a free trade agreement signed with Korea, and very recently one with Japan as well.
With the free trade agreement with Japan, there are tariffs up as high as 219%. What we want to see is a reduction, or of course if we can get rid of those tariffs, that would be fantastic. I think Ben touched on it earlier. We were having a conversation about honey has been excluded out of Korea.
What's the story with honey? What's the specific issue with honey in Korea?
We got all this information about how we were going to get a free trade agreement signed, and then right at the last minute we found out that honey wasn't included.
So the Koreans produce honey then?
Well, I think there's a domestic, very small industry that have to be very well protected. Exactly. Because some of the tariffs on honey are into hundreds of percent.
Wow.
It's just ridiculous.
But on pork and wool and lamb, where we've got zero tariffs, we've got opportunity for beef, we've got opportunities right across a number of the produce that we produce. Having in some cases zero tariffs or zero duties, or in some cases just a reduction in those duties, just opens the door for Australian products.
These negotiations, there's always been ups and downs, although no one's gone backwards, I have to say. we never get everything that we want in these negotiations, I think is the key point. But from the point of view looking right across the food and beverage sector, they're absolutely breakthrough agreements, we think, because they've injected fresh momentum into that whole market access debate. I mean, we've been talking about these things for years, really, and while we've been talking, other countries have been taking market share.
By the full implementation of the Korean trade deal, 98% of Australian produce will have no tariff or duty on it. Okay, yes, you could say 2%, and maybe honey falls into that 2%, but the reality is 98% of the rest of the produce will have no duty, and that is a huge opportunity and growth opportunity for our producers.
The China deal is probably the most important, and that's the one being negotiated now. I mean, China's just overtaken Japan as our biggest export destination in food and beverage, and so China is a key agreement, and we're certainly hopeful they can bring that home in the last half of this year.
Australia is considered a high cost base, in a food and beverage sense, and so therefore, we need to be thinking about our efficiencies in order to win those markets that become freer through free trade agreements, because free trade agreement alone is not going to see that success happen. The businesses have got to be able to perform in an efficient manner to achieve that.
The free trade agreement, if you add that with the barriers being dropped and the opportunity to really come off the back of what we say is clean, safe, and high demand quality produce and beverages, the opportunity is huge right now.